So when we look back at Spark of Life, which was a Sonic Universe arc or sub-arc during the whole Return of the Freedom Fighters Panic in the Sky storyline that we got as part of the reboot or soft reboot, one of the things that's very notable about it is Nicole being the only non-Sonic character to get a super form, thanks to basically Dr. LED putting a red star ring on her portable device, thus increasing her ability tenfold and giving her the form of Overclocked Nicole. Now, despite the fact that that's great and everything, and it was nice to see that, they're willing to venture outside of the norm and give non-Sonic game characters like Nicole, super forms to work with. To me, when I look back on that, it does make me kind of think about, something that happened back during the Mecha Sally arc. Now, as we approach the anniversary of that arc ending, we are reminded of one moment that I'm sure kind of gets overseen sometimes by a lot of folks. And that is when Eggman put the, finishing touches on, the weaponized Mecha Sally. And one of those finishing touches was by adding a power ring to her body to serve as not just a power source, to increase her abilities, but to also, act like a battery, if you will. So that when it ran out of juice, she would either permanently die, be shut offline, or have a new one placed, in its place so that she could continue doing his bidding. And the one thing that stuck out to me during all that was in story, Eggman basically said, or at least it seemed like he said, that he had modified the power ring to basically prevent any free will from being restored because of it when he added it to Mecha Sally's body. Now, some might say that he didn't mean the power ring, he meant her weaponized body, thus making it more resistant to a power ring restoring free will. Well, be that as it may, either way you look at it, there's no doubt in anybody's mind that the power ring eventually would have restored her free will. I think everybody knows that. Even though it might have taken a lot slower, if it was the body that was modified to resist it, we all know that it would have occurred. There's no doubt. Or even if the power ring itself, was modified, that over time, it would probably be able to restore itself to, be able to do what it was supposed to do originally. Because again, we know that power rings, if you watch the Sonic SatAM cartoon, you read the comics, are meant to increase Sonic's speed tenfold, increase the ability of somebody that's not Sonic's, abilities tenfold, like Antoine's swordsmanship, and 3, restore temporarily, if not permanently, the free will to anybody that's roboticized or half cybernetic and under the control of Eggman. And when I look at, what happened in Spark of Life, I think that's in Flynn's own way of basically making up for what happened in the Mecha Sally arc, because, one thing I'm pretty sure a lot of fans probably pointed out to him, and even some of his own co-writers pointed out to him, is how is, modifying a robotic body or modifying the power ring, going to prevent it from giving back free will? How is that possible when pretty much everybody knows that it does the opposite of that, that it does give back free will to anybody that's robotic? It's like, how can you pull, a 160 or 180 on it? It doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense. And I'm pretty sure looking back at the story arc itself, Ian Flynn, maybe thanks to the encouragement of Aaliyah Baker, his wife, I'm pretty sure, Ian Flynn was like, oops, I made a mistake. Or oops, I really wasn't thinking, of exactly what I was going to do. Or maybe Ian Flynn realized that, hey, I couldn't come up with another power source and anything to help increase, Mecha Sally's abilities, so I just put a power ring in there, on the fly, made up the fact that it's going to get modified and go from there, and hope people would forget it. Now, some might say that when Monkey Khan gave up his power ring to save Sally, that pretty much confirmed that it was the body that was modified and nothing else. That might be true again. That might be true, but still, it doesn't prevent the fact that the power ring, even slower than usual, would have still restored her free will. And I think during those certain moments that I've pointed out before, like Sally staring out the window of her brother's hut when she's ordered to go, attack him and his family, and you kind of see that little bit of sorrowness, you cannot tell me that from a continuity standpoint, that wasn't a bit of the power ring, mostly Monkey Khan's power ring, seeping through her body and slowly restoring her free will. Because that's exactly what it looked like to me. But we never truly got any resolution to that. We never even got any true answer to that. Which is why I think when, the reboot happened, or soft reboot, again, depending on how you look at it, that's why I believe when this, reboot happened and we got Spark of Life, that when Dr. LED in the script, put the red star ring on Nicole's portable form, it gave her the super form that it did. Because the regular power ring allows her to manifest a very realistic, almost flesh and blood, body to interact with everybody else, outside of a portable world. But, but then, hold on for a second. But then, when you add the power of a red star ring, it increases her abilities tenfold, if not 100-fold, and thus gives her a super form, making her the first Sonic game character to get a super form outside the video games, which is kind of cool. And to me, that sounds like, or looks like to me, Ian Flynn's way of I guess apologizing for the oversight that he made in the Mecha Sally arc. Because again, looking back on it, it's still something that kind of sticks in my craw. I mean, depending on how you view it, it shouldn't matter whether the weaponized robotic body is modified or the power ring itself is modified. It shouldn't matter because over time, either way, it should have been able to restore the free will of Sally back to herself. But we never got any resolution. All we got, in my opinion, were little glimpses here and there, and that was it. That was it. Nothing more. But again, it's just one of those situations that when you look back at Spark of Life and you really kind of think about it from behind the scenes perspective, and Nicole getting her overclocked form, I truly believe that was Ian Flynn's way of making up for what he did. I really do. Because like I said, I truly feel, my opinion, and you can disagree with me, you can disagree or agree with me all you want. But my opinion, I think Ian Flynn, at the encouragement of his fellow co-writers, maybe some fans, his family, probably looked back at the story, the Mecha Sally story, and realized, oops, I made a few mistakes here and there, I made a few oversights here and there, and one of them was the power ring situation. That's just my opinion. That's just my speculated opinion, that, the reason we got, the Overclocked Nicole in Spark of Life, with the red star ring, which again is the equivalent of 7 Chaos Emeralds to 1 power ring, to me, that was Ian Flynn's way of saying, hey, my bad, I didn't really think about, what I was going to, do for a power source when it came to Sally, so I either, just decided to go by the seat of my pants and add this in there, hoping maybe people wouldn't, really remember it or think about it and stuff like that. But again, Ian Flynn, being a fan himself at one point, has to realize, honestly, that fans are, certain fan bases like Sonic's, have very good memories. And they know that a power ring, no matter how it's utilized or how it's applied to something, is always going to basically do one of three things. Increase the sonic speed, increase the ability of somebody else outside of Sonic, as well as restore the free will of anybody robotic or cybernetic that's under his control. So honestly, the thing is, in my opinion, this is why I believe Spark of Life, in the Overclocked Nicole Red Star situation, was his way of making amends, making up for that, little oversight. Because I'm pretty sure if he was able to go back and redo the story, he'd probably put a different power source into Sally's weaponized body, instead of just, the power ring modified, or not, or her body modified or not. He would have used a different power source than that. So, yeah, I think honestly, when I look back on it, yeah, it still was kind of like something that was confusing, and like, how could you not remember what, the power rings in the storyline perspective are meant for and everything. Looking back on it, I do realize, in my opinion, that maybe, giving Nicole her overclocked form, with the Red Star ring, was his way of making amends for what happened in the Mecha Sally arc. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Also support me at my Teespring store, guys. Also check me out at BEW Roses Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. You will get a audio version of that there. Also, guys, support me at patreon.com/BWRoses, the $1, $3 tier. Also support me at DeviantArt.com/BVW1979. And support me, ladies and gentlemen, at VENMO at BW Roses for content you can't get anywhere else. And support me at Venmo at Brian-Woman-2 and Cash App at BW Roses 98. And I do apologize, guys, if I was a little all over the place here. I just woke up a little while ago, drinking myself some coffee. It's early. I'm off today and tomorrow. So I decided, why not start off this two-day vacation, if you will, by doing a bit of an audio video, kind of doing a remake of last night's audio video that I tried to do while I was walking in the cold from the bus stop. But yeah, I do apologize if I was all over the place. But anyway, though, guys, give me your thoughts. Let me know how you feel. Does that kind of make sense, maybe? Or do you think I'm just pulling at strings? What are your thoughts? Let me know, and until then, I'll talk to y'all later.